Hello gamers, today I am taking a look at another game made by Don't Nod, a company that I have spent many videos talking their praise and will probably spend many more in the future. Anyways, this video is on a game called Jusant. I think it's French, so I don't know how to pronounce it, but that's okay. Jusant is apparently the meaning for low tide in French, which kind of suits the game pretty well, as the game takes place in a world without an ocean. So actually, can you really have low tide with no water? I don't know, but anyways, the game starts with the unnamed playable character walking through a desert with a bunch of abandoned ships in the sand, making it clear that this was clearly once a lively ocean, however now a complete wasteland. But the young climber starts to approach a large mountain, although it is more in the shape of a tower or obelisk-like object made from the earth, with some buildings on it, mainly a lighthouse, something that the climber finds very interesting as they keep on looking up at it. So the climb to the lighthouse starts. The mountain making it very clear that at certain times the mountain, or at least parts of it, was underwater with large sloughs of dead coral on the sides of it, and houses with notes talking about the water going away for some reason. Some of the notes even referring to the fact that rain was like an urban myth which the elders of the town themselves had never seen before. One thing that Jusant does differently to many other games, especially climbing games, is that it controls mainly using each one of your triggers to control each arm, at least if you play on controller, that is, which I feel you should very much do so, as this game was designed to be played on controller. And I do know that there are other games that use the triggers to control each limb, but I can't think of them at the moment, so that's not important. So I don't really feel I should talk too much about the story, as I very much recommend that you check this game out for yourself, as it's an absolute masterpiece. This game is only about 3 to 4 hours long, depending on how fast you read all the notes. So it took me like 6 hours, but that's not the point, if reading the notes is even your thing in a game like this. And it is well worth it. But I will quickly mention that throughout the game, the climbing is accompanied by a little blue blob creature that, quite frankly, looks like something I would make in Spore. But this cute little fella has the power to grow plants within a certain radius, the plant's growth providing handhelds for the climber. So apart from the story, what else is there to talk about? Well, let's start off with what you do in the game, as I kind of mentioned a fair amount already, but you are a climber whose goal is to reach certain sites on the mountain. The game, I feel, takes some inspiration from games like Only Up or games like that were popular in early 2023, and they were all over the internet at the time. However, Jusant is a lot more forgiving and a bit more linear, with a narrative somewhat in there if you go looking for it, with lots of different stages. Also, the game doesn't allow you to fall off every edge. It's like you can't just walk off the mountain, as there are invisible walls in place. However, whilst climbing, you can run out of stamina, which will force you to fall back down to your most recently placed anchor point. Anchor points mean something that you can place down as some kind of mid-climb checkpoint. However, you don't regain any of your stamina, so you need to be very careful when you reclimb after a fall. And as you complete each chapter, you then have to face a new part of the mountain that gives you a new challenge to overcome and a new way of climbing. For example, when you are on the super sunny side of the cliff face, you lose stamina a lot quicker when in the heat, and any plants that you get your little blob guy to grow will stay there for a little bit, then slowly shrivel up and die, which of course removes the handhelds that those plants would have provided, causing the climber to once again fall down to your latest anchor point. And then there is a chapter that you spend inside of the mountain, where you come across these little bugs that can lift your entire body weight for a short amount of time. And then as you start to peak the mountain crest, the wind starts to pick up rapidly, to the point where it blows so hard that it can lift the climber up and fling them in certain directions. However, a poorly timed jump against the wind will cause you to fall. But timed right, the wind can allow the climber to skip large parts of the climb whilst using minimal stamina. And of course, as I have mentioned in many videos before, I love the look of Don't Nod's art style, and this game is absolutely no different. It somehow manages to look the same as games like Life is Strange, but also look different enough to separate itself from the other games. And something that the other games, and most Don't Nod games, do very well is that being the banger soundtrack, and this game is no different. With the uplifting music playing throughout. However, this game doesn't have a song that I have added to my depression playlist, unlike every other Don't Nod game. So I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing for this game. But however, that has been my look at Jusant, another amazing installment into the gaming sphere by Don't Nod. A developer I always look forward to seeing what they do, and I also look forward to covering another Don't Nod game in the future, as Jusant is leaving me wanting more. However, I won't make any promises on what game that's gonna be, as I've been saying I'm going to talk about Sleeping Dogs and Cars Racerama for like months now, but I haven't even started playing those games yet, if I'm being honest. So I have a couple other games I'm playing at the moment. But I will say I do enjoy the game Vampire a lot, which is very different to the other Don't Nod games, and also I feel flew under the radar upon its release. Probably because it wasn't very good. It had good aspects though, and maybe we'll talk about them. Who knows? If you subscribe, you might be able to find out in the future, because I have absolutely no idea what we're gonna do. But we will definitely find it out as we go.